Hey Hustlers, it's Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. Today is Tuesday, so you know what that means, Toys R Us Tuesday. I know it's been a little while since I've done a Toys R Us Tuesday, but we're back at it again. And once again, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. Been reselling for 30 years. I can't believe it's been that long. Started off at the flea markets, started eBay, done a bunch of stuff on the side. I also sell on Poshmark, Etsy, Amazon FBA, OfferUp, you name it. Those that are new to the channel, we're almost at 2,000 subscribers, so please click the subscribe button and click the bell if you want to get notifications. But anyways, let's get back into Toys R Us Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I go through a vintage toy that I remember as a kid, and we kind of dissect it a little bit. We watch a commercial, and we basically just really quickly kind of describe it and any memories or anything like that associated with it. So let's get through it. Today we're going to talk about He-Man Masters of the Universe. This toy line, actually, doing research on this, I was actually surprised that this toy line, they said that this toy line started in 1981. My first memories of He-Man, to my knowledge, that I can remember, and it could be earlier, Christmas of 1985 is when I first started seeing He-Man. I was 5 years old, and I'm thinking like maybe it could have been 83 or 84, and I could have been younger than 5 when this came out, but I could have swore it was 1985, the first time I saw He-Man. Woke up Christmas morning, excited, a little kid, and seeing He-Man stuff all over the couch, and just amazed that Santa, his jolly highness, dropped off some of this stuff. And to me, like, I don't remember if I was watching the cartoons or anything like that before, because there was a series of cartoons that came out around that same time period. But anyways, He-Man's Masters of the Universe was kind of loosely based off Conan, and at that time Conan was hot with the Conan movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and actually there was a lawsuit filed with the creators of Conan, to my knowledge, that they were saying that He-Man was a direct ripoff of Conan, and there was a legal battle which Mattel ultimately won, and they changed up the hairstyle, because I think the He-Man's original hairstyle was brown, and then they changed it up to blonde to kind of push themselves away from that Conan kind of stigma that some people were saying that, you know, they were ripping off Conan. But, you know, He-Man in his own self was kind of his own thing, his own universe. It was based off some DC comics and things like that. So anyways, let's get into it. Like I said, this was a toy from the early 80s. What was kind of different about this toy that I might say was that they were a lot larger than the action figures that were kind of out at that time. What I'm saying is Star Wars figures were hot at that time. I think Empire Strikes Back figures were out. And the 3 3/4, for everyone that knows, you know, those little action figure, the G.I. Joe size was hugely popular. And so this 5.5 inch figure was kind of a little different because it was a little larger. And for me as a kid, you know, it was a lot, you know, just a bigger toy was just easier to play with. And but it kind of took up, you know, these things took up a lot of space, and we can get into that real quick. So it wouldn't be a Toys R Us Tuesday, excuse me, if we didn't watch a vintage commercial. So let us start off with this one.
Who's the big guy with the muscles?
He's He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe.
Not Conan.
Skeletor is his enemy.
Skeletor, man, what a crazy character.
He-Man, Skeletor, and Castle Grayskull. You have to put the
Castle
together.
Grayskull.
You're doomed, He-Man.
Oh yeah.
Watch this action, Dad.
Oh, that's right. They used to swing like that.
Power.
He-Man and Skeletor
Nice.
each sold separately. Castle Grayskull also sold separately from the Masters of the Universe collection.
Yeah, let me just touch on something real quick, and it's actually let's see if we can get it here. They actually show the Castle Grayskull, which was really cool in itself, because it was like a castle that kind of folded out, and it also kind of was used as a figure storage. And I don't think it was ever meant to really be for figure storage, but when I first started playing with He-Mans, I didn't really have it much, so like they would fit perfectly in the little castle, and you can actually carry it around. I don't think it ever had a handle or anything like that. Also, Snake Mountain was the counterpart to Castle Grayskull, and we'll get into that in a second. But let's take a look at another video, because I don't remember these videos. These were really early on, and they didn't even have like the He-Man the He-Man theme music. Dun, 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 I got the power. None of that stuff was ever shown in these early commercials. But let's take a look at another one real quick here.
Mossman is green, so I can't be seen.
Mossman, Skeletor, and Triclops figures, each sold separately.
Look, He-Man's alone. It's 2 against 1. Wrong, Bone Face. It's 2 against 2. Mossman. You. Yarg!
Mossman, new from the Masters of the Universe collection.
So for anyone of 80s stuff, did you notice the voice of? I'll play it again one more time. Do you hear, like, just listen to this voice and see if you recognize this voice. If you do recognize this voice, leave a comment below. Let's play it again.
Mossman, new from the Masters of the Universe collection. Other action figures, each sold separately.
If you guessed Peter Cullen, the original voice of Optimus Prime in the cartoon series and in the movies, you are correct. I didn't even realize that he was doing voice acting for these commercials early on. And I want to say this was even before the Transformer cartoon that came out, because that's another thing that we're going to do maybe next week. We'll talk about Transformers. But the fact that he, voiced these commercials was really cool, and a nice little surprise and some meta for any of the 80s kids out there. Definitely. So yeah, we talked about that. Let's actually, so like, it wouldn't be a Toys R Us Tuesday, and it wouldn't be a Thrift Shop Hustler video if we don't actually go into eBay completed auctions. We're gonna look up vintage Masters of the Universe, and we're kind of gonna take a little dip and see what's the highest price things. I'm guessing you're gonna see stuff like sealed, mint on cards, and maybe some of the play sets, the earlier play sets, and maybe I think the laser He-Man and the laser Skeletor are some of the figures to look out for if you're out there sourcing. So let's take a look at this real quick. And so like one of the highest things is a 1986 Eternia play set, $1,600. This is a complete one. It looks like it's opened. I'm not sure if it's been played with. It says it's complete, has all its inserts. And what's crazy about the Castle, the Eternia playset was, back in those days, it was pretty expensive comparative to anything else that was out there. So that it was kind of like a higher end set. And I want to say that not too many of these were produced. And so you see a pretty good amount of money for this. Me personally, I've been, reselling for 30 years. I've never seen an Eternia playset at a flea market or garage sale or anywhere. So that tells you alone that these things are rare. As you can also see, this says ultra rare Mattel laser power He-Man, and remember I was talking about that, and these were some laser ones, and I don't think they really made too many of these either. Finding these mint on card would be spectacular. I don't know the history behind the laser ones. I know there was a certain amount of things that were produced on the tail end, and they actually come with the little card backers. That's interesting. So these are very hard to find. I never saw one of these when I was a kid, but look at this. This went for, how much does this go for? Someone was trying to get $2,000. They took a best offer. So it was anywhere between $1,500 and $1,600. So keep an eye out for that. Let's just see. We got some mint on card stuff. We got this Battle Cat Springy Ride. I don't think I've ever seen this before. This is an odd thing. I wonder if it was something that it looks like it was actually made like this. Wow, that is crazy. Anyone remember those little springy horses that you would swing on and fall off of? Anyways, they made a Battle Cat of that. There was also this giant He-Man, and I think this actually was one of the original He-Man things that came out here, and I'm not too sure. I have to do some research on this one. But this figure, if you see this in the wild, goes for a ton of money. Like I said, I've never seen this before. And as you can see, like, this literally kind of looks like Conan the Barbarian for sure. So I can see why that they might have gotten into some trouble for that. Now, I want to actually touch base on this actually auction real quick. Is that 60 plus figures went for $655. Now I can imagine these are all mint, and there could be some rare figures in there. Let me see if I can see if there's some rare figures in here that we can look at. Scare Glow, look that up. Oh, they do have a Scare Glow. Let me show you right here. See this skeleton guy right here in the corner? This skeleton guy in the bottom left corner is called Scare Glow. He's probably one of the most popular, and it's not super rare, but I think I want to say they were only made in the UK, or there was some deal with why Scare Glow is rare. And anyways, these look like there's some rare figures in here that were made on the tail end of it. But what I really wanted to say about this auction is, do you see how it says 60 plus figures and it went for $600? I remember in the early 2000s, you can buy He-Man figures for like super cheap. Like this lot wouldn't even have gone up to $100. You could have bought this for less than $100 in about 2001. And I remember that because I used to collect Star Wars figures and buy and sell Star Wars figures back in the day, and I used to look at He-Man stuff and I was like, why doesn't this He-Man stuff ever take off? This stuff was cheap. Now I think we go back to the nostalgia thing where people are starting to want to buy, you know, these figures, and now they're some of these lots are going for crazy prices. But all I was saying is, you know, 16 years ago you could have got this stuff for super cheap because no one cared about this stuff. It was considered like almost not junk, but like people would overlook these all the time. You couldn't get much money for them. And so, yeah, it's crazy to see over time, you know, the stuff that people didn't really care about start to be worth good money. So you definitely want to look out for this kind of stuff. Also, they also reissued a bunch of stuff in recent time. This was like kind of like 1990 He-Man. He-Man tried to make a little bit of a comeback. Some of these figures are rare. Do your research on those. And I want to show you guys some of the newer stuff because Matty Collector, there's a sealed Scare Glow. That's cool. Oh, I put vintage in the title. You're not going to see it. Oh, I remember the slime pit thing. This was really cool. It was like a slime pit, and I remember getting this as a wee lad. And what it was is you put your figure in there and you dump slime on them. It was really cool. Slime got everywhere, of course, and that's just nuts. But anyways, He-Man stuff's still out there. If you're out there sourcing and you can find a good amount of them for cheap at a garage sale, because I haven't seen them in a garage sale for a long time. I used to be able to see them in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were everywhere. Like I said, people didn't really take stock in them. And now this is crazy. Matty Collector's out now, which is like a Mattel website, fan site. And they reproduce different... They don't reproduce the old figures, but they kind of do a spin on the old figures, and they repackage them, and they're limited edition and all that. So there's that. He-Man's still selling strong. They try to do another push of a new He-Man in around... I want to say around 2006. They try to restart up the line and everything, and those are out. And they don't sell those anymore, but I'm sure you're going to see He-Man down the road. Someone's going to try to like say, oh, let's do He-Man again, because it's happened a million times. So anyways, I'm Chris with Thrift Shop Hustler. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you remember any of this He-Man stuff, please leave a comment below. And we're almost at 2,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button. Click the bell if you want to get notifications every time I upload one of these crazy videos. And everyone, Tuesday, have a great week and keep hustling.